Welcome to Prem and Proper here at SDH. We'll take you through the end of Festive Fixtures and get you ready for a bit of a sprint before the January window, and everybody takes a pause, having survived said Festive Fixtures. We'll get into all the results of the last 7 days, show you the table, hear from a lot of the principals as we get ready for that last game of Festive Fixtures and get you ready for the weekend that will be. We'll hear from Drew Dickinson. You'll have the 3D coming up later on in the show, where he will discuss his beloved Manchester United, and we will see what the thoughts are there as well. All right, let's go back over the last 7 days. A lot of results. So in a no-dilly, no-dally zone, let's subtract and figure out where we are. All right, on the 22nd, Villa Sheffield United, a 1-1 draw. Sheffield United had the lead until the end. Get the point at a plus 625. Then on the 23rd, West Ham over Manchester United 2-0. Spurs over Everton 2-1. Bournemouth over Forest in one of the crazier games of the Festive Fixtures window, winning 3-2 at a plus 150. Manchester City Brentford obviously postponed because of City's involvement in the Club World Cup. Luton, big win at Kenilworth Road over Newcastle by the final of 1-0 at a plus 432. Burnley gets a win at a plus 409. 2-0 at Craven Cottage over Fulham. Liverpool and Arsenal, the craziness that was there back on the 23rd, a 1-1 draw, the match of the weekend at a plus 267. Then Wolves over Chelsea on Christmas Eve day. 2-1 winners there at the Molineux at a plus 231. Boxing Day, 5 matches. Nottingham Forest gets the win. First match under Nuno Espirito Santo at a plus 653, beating a dinged up, and I'm using that term loosely, Newcastle side 3-1. Luton gets another big win, one of the crazier matches of Boxing Day and of Festive Fixtures. 3-2 win, back and forth, down 1-0, up 2-1, and then come back and get the win 3-2. So Luton in a back and forth with Sheffield United gets full points. We'll get into standings coming up in just a little bit at a plus 209. Bournemouth shuts out Fulham. Rough times for Marco Silva and his crew in Festive Fixtures. Bournemouth winning 3-0 at a minus 104 at the Vitality. Liverpool shuts out Burnley 2-0 at a minus 263. Manchester United 3-2 over Aston Villa in a comeback win in front of Sir Dave Brailsford and the new administration at a plus 135. Then on the 27th, in the midweek, Chelsea over Crystal Palace 2-1 at a minus 128. Folks are wondering about the future of Roy Hodgson. Right now, Steve Cooper can be had on a free. Wolves put 4 on Brentford at the G-Tech at a plus 240, winning 4-1. Manchester City down 1-0, came back to win at Goodison Park 3-1 over Everton at a minus 161. Brighton out early 3-0, hang on over Spurs at the Amex at a plus 152-4-2. West Ham knocks off Arsenal by the final of 2-0. David Moyes looks like there are going to be discussions in January about him staying for another 2.5-year contract. We'll find out what happens there as we go here along in the month. So that's your Festive Fixtures rundown to date, which sets up the standings. And remember, there are a couple of teams who have only played 18 matches as we get you ready here for match day, match week 20, however you want to phrase it. Liverpool on top at 42 points. Arsenal second at 40, having hit each column in their last 3, but they've lost 2 of their last 4. They only have 4 points in their last 4 matches. Villa under Unai Emery third at 39 points once again. They've hit each of the columns in their last 3. Manchester City, match in hand. They're at 18 matches played, 37 points. They win their match in hand. They're 2 points behind Liverpool in the race for the top spot. Spurs are in 5th at 36 points, and that should be the tail end of group number 1. Those are your European spots. West Ham is in 6th, having won 4 of 5, 3 in a row. They're at 33 points. Manchester United, up and down. They've hit each of the 3 columns in their last 3. They finally drawn a match this year, and they did that 3 matches ago, beginning of Festive Fixtures. So they're 10, 1, and 8 at 31 points in 7th. Brighton is at 30 points, battling European football. Newcastle, having lost 4 of 5, injury-depleted roster for Newcastle. We still maintain they could have an all-injured starting 11 and a starting 11 on a match day. 29 points, and they are in 9th. Then, space. Chelsea starts the lower half of the table. They're ahead of Wolves and Bournemouth on goal difference, but they are 10, 11, and 12 at 25 points. Then the group that I guess you could say is the beginning of group number 3. Fulham is losers of 3 in a row, 13th place, 21 points. Brentford have lost 4 in a row, 6 of 7. They're at 19 points in 14th. Palace only have 2 points in their last 5 matches. They're at 18 points in 15th. Forest, after snapping a long unbeaten, a long winless streak, they're now at 17 points in 16th. Everton have lost 2 in a row, and with the deduction by the Premier League itself, they're down to 16 points, only 1 point out of the relegation zone. Luton, 15 points. They've won 2 in a row. Burnley's at 11 points, and Sheffield United, 1 point in their last 3 matches. They're at 9 points. So you go from Fulham at 21 points to Luton at 15 points. 6 teams separated by 6 points, 13th through 18th in the Premier League at present. So let's hear from some of the principals and get you ready for the weekend, the last go-around in festive fixtures. First off, Mauricio Pochettino and what he anticipates coming up against the matchup with Luton Town.
I think that game against Crystal Palace is a good example that we need to go there to Luton and thinking that it's going to be really tough because the stadium, the fans, and because it's a team that love to fight and love to work really, really hard. And it's so difficult when if you watch the last few games on their stadium, it always was tough for all the opponent. Yes, if we want to get some good result, we need to be ready, of course, to play football. But I think it's going to be a really tough game because we need to match the desire, the capacity to fight in every single ball, and it's going to be a good test for us. If again, it's the challenge to be consistent, and for us is going now to go there and to be consistent, and first of all to fight, to be clever and be focused, and then try to, with our talent to win the game.
Courtesy of Chelsea, their own selves. Now to Spurs, once again courtesy of Spurs, their own selves. Ange Postecoglou on the window. He has in mind what he's looking for, and he's going to have to be prudent about it.
Yeah, there we are. I think the transfer window, look, nothing magical is going to happen in a January window. What we need to do is just keep building. We've had one window with this team to change it around, to do things differently. And like I said, the fact we're in the position we are is a credit to the players that, through all the sort of challenges we've had, we just get ploughing forward, and that's what we'll do. We'll see what we can do in January, but ultimately it's about building a side that will get us to where we want to.
We mentioned Manchester City having gone and won the Club World Cup against Fluminense. Once again, 5 points out of the lead, but a match in hand. Pep was asked, courtesy of Manchester City, their own selves, about the pressure that the team is facing. No different than before.
No, it's what it is. We are used to in the last seasons. It's not different now. So just to be calm, analyze how is the team, and keep going. It's so long. Premier League is never end. It's so long way, and many things. Man City, first included, many things going to happen.
And you'll hear about this later on in the 3D, obviously, with the sale. Drew Dickinson breaking the news about the sale, official of 29% of Manchester United to Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos. Eric Ten Hag about the anticipated working relationship, courtesy of Manchester United, their own selves, with Ineos.
As you said, the schedule is so condensed, so I didn't have the time so far to speak with them. But it will come, and I look forward. They want to work with me, I want to work with them, and we will have the conversations, the meetings, and so we will see.
Are you expecting them to be regular presences here? Will they be across your work on a day-to-day basis?
So listen, I'm focused on the game so far. So I said no. In this moment, I don't want to have distractions, but in the coming days, weeks, there will be time for this, and then I know more. But I think it's a good thing. It's very positive, and as I said, we are really looking forward to work together. Ineos wants to work with me, with this in the structure, and I want to work with them.
Now to Brighton, and the last time out for Brighton getting the win over Spurs 4-2. Here's Roberto De Zerbi about Festive Fixtures and getting that big win, putting 4 on the board.
It was the best way to finish the year. I'm really proud for the last 10 minutes, not for the first 80 minutes, because it's too easy now speaking about the first 80 minutes, but I'm really proud for the last 10 minutes when we were suffering a lot. It was the
Next up, courtesy of our friends at Sky Sports News, Dharmesh Seth, as a clip was released as they are doing their weekly Premier League podcast, Dharmesh Seth, about the impact and possible over-exceeded expectations by the Manchester United fan base about what Ineos can and can't do.
I don't think there will be a fundamental change. Sorry, United fans, but I don't think there'll be a fundamental change simply because Ineos has got this 25% investment into the club. Yes, they are bringing big money into the club, but it doesn't change the fact that Manchester United, rather like Chelsea, still have to comply with financial fair play rules. It's not a case of a new owner comes in and then suddenly Manchester United can spend £200 million. They still have to comply with these financial fair play regulations. So I don't think it's going to be a case of Ineos coming in and thinking, here you go, Erik ten Hag, here's loads of money. What I think will happen is they will assess the whole squad. They'll assess the managerial and the coaching situation. They'll assess the position of sporting director as well, because I think that could be a real prime issue for Manchester United under Ineos, simply because they've been given control of the footballing side of the club. That is something that they haven't been addressing since.
There's more off-the-field work at Manchester United, you reckon, coming up in the
but
coming months?
It's all linked into what happens on the field, isn't it? Because a sporting director will dictate, you think, the recruitment of the club and the managerial situation as well. They will assess everything that's happening there. I know people are questioning Erik ten Hag's future, the future of so many of these players. But the fact of the matter is, they want to come in and have a look at everything around that club.
Makes sense.
The playing staff, the managerial staff, everything.
Couple of thoughts from Jurgen Klopp as Liverpool gets ready for Newcastle coming up on the weekend. Liverpool once again top of the table with everything that's been going on with VAR. Yes, courtesy of Liverpool, their own selves. Somebody went there and asked him about it.
Yeah, can I ask you, do you think it's time for the footballing authorities to be brave and look at the whole aspect of VAR, because it doesn't appear to be fit for purpose, and the things that it was brought in for, it doesn't appear to be improving?
I really don't think that I should answer this question. You just, not that you use me, I give you too often the opportunity to use my phrases, and then it's the things we discuss is it's not interesting anymore. It's just Klopp said, and it doesn't help. And that's why I cannot.
It's not meant to be like that. I'm just.
But it will be used like that. We agree. What I say now is Klopp says, and with the problem we all see every day, pretty much. Whenever we watch a game, we think, okay, how is that possible? The 2 goals against us, for us, I say both legitimate goals. And all these kinds of things. We can talk about on and on and on and on. We know it already. The authorities probably know it already. What do you mean with they have to be brave? What does it mean? What do you mean with brave?
Abandon it.
Oh my God, take VR away. No. Use VR better is probably the right thing. And I think it could be done.
And then the follow-up question further down the line in the press conference about the matchup with Newcastle, Liverpool. Not taking it lightly, once again, courtesy of Liverpool FC, their own selves.
Yeah, first and foremost, it's a privilege of you and probably also personal well to just have expectation before other teams are playing. I don't have that. I just watch the game if I have time, and then I don't think they will win, they will lose, stuff like this. It's football. I'm too long in the business to not know that everything can happen, and you can lose a game with 30 shots or with 34 or whatever. And you can draw these kind of games as well. So that's all possible. And That's why these games last night or whenever they happen, they have nothing to do with our game against Newcastle. Look, Newcastle did incredibly well, and I'm pretty sure that it's unlucky that you have that amount of injuries, but then on top of that you have you play international football, which they didn't play now 50 times in a row. So that's the whole system has to get used to that. And I mean, the system of the players, it's completely different. If you have a normal training week, or if you have pretty much only recovery and have to go again for a big game. Premier League games are all big, Champions League games are all big. So that's just a little bit, was for sure a little bit a problem. But they still do really well, and they have in all the games they lost, they had really good spells. It's not either the games I saw, and the analysis only starts now, really. The games that I saw, they had really good spells. They have a really good idea. But at one point, Eddie had to play too often the same lineup, definitely. That's clear with all these games, and the boys did incredibly well. I think he said that as well. He has really give credit to the players, the effort they put in. But it was pretty much the same lineup for a long time. And then the guys who play all the time get tired, and the guys who come back have no rhythm. So we had that situation plenty of times. But now they have 5-6 days like we had between the games, and it will help both teams. Definitely. We played 5 games in 13 days. It's absolutely insane as well. We came somehow through that. But now it's about using that extra recovery time because the next games are then, because we are still in all cup competitions, that means we have a busy January as well. Other teams probably have a lesser busy January, which is then helpful. And then we all have to get through that as well. And then from February on, we all have the same schedule again. And then we will see.
And then finally, Arsenal, who is second, but once again, they've lost 2 of their last 4. Arsenal wraps up the tail end of festive fixtures, getting ready toward the end of the season with a 2-0 loss to West Ham. Our friends at NBC Sports Soccer and Peacock, Rebecca Lowe, Tim Howard, Robbie Musto, were asked what Arsenal may need to do in January to keep themselves near or at the top of the standings in the Prem.
What concerned you about the Gunners today?
Well, I don't think it's one of those games where I or anybody should jump on Arsenal. West Ham United right now, we said it before, were very dangerous opponents. My prediction was a narrow Arsenal victory. West Ham have been playing great, and we know when they get ahead in games, they have got the steel, the organisation, from David Moyes, of course, to grind that out. So as soon as they score first, it's a London derby. What are they, 4 miles apart, the 2 stadiums? I would have expected a very strong rearguard kind of protection. We saw that from West Ham United. We know that this season with Kudos and a few others that we talked about before the game, they are very, very dangerous on the counter-attack and strong at set pieces. And that's how it was. I'm not going to jump on the Arsenal need goals from one of Jesus and Martinelli. I think that still is...
They do, though, don't they?
I think they do.
Do they need to buy a striker in January?
Well, in an ideal world, yes. Yes, but in January, I mean, Ivan Toney is the player out there that apparently is kind of for sale at Brentford. It's going to be a big fee. Whether people think he's an Arsenal striker, and I don't think he is, in terms of what I know from history and what they might need. But he is a guy that scores plenty of goals as a striker.
Tim, if they don't buy a striker in January, can they win the league?
I think it'll be tough. I mean, it's going to be tighter this year, I think. So can they win the league? Yes. But I think this will test Arsenal's resolve. They've shown that they will back Edu, they will back Mikel Arteta, and they will spend the money. I'm curious as to how badly they want this title. If they go buy a striker with ready-made goals, and I do think Ivan Toney is that, I think that gets them over the edge, or at least gives them a real good opportunity. So I'll be curious, but it's January, and it's not as if they're going to come into this over the last 2 weeks and go, oh my gosh, we need a striker. If they needed a striker, they will have planned on this over the course of a few months. I think, to be fair, Arteta said that they're kind of ready for January. That if something happens, they're going to be ready to go. So he didn't rule it out, whereas often managers do. He left the door open that they could do something in January.
The door might be even more open now.
Yeah.
So that sets us up for the weekend and all of the matchups that are going to be in play here. What we'll do is we will go through the second, and that will get you through Tuesday, and then you have the window where everybody gets to catch their breath in the Premier League, and we'll lay it all out for you here in short order. On Saturday, 7:30, the early start, Luton Town, a plus 488 at home, going up against Chelsea at a minus 182. 4 matches at 10 o'clock. Villa, a minus 263, hosting Burnley, who's north of plus 700. Crystal Palace, a plus 122 at Selhurst Park, going up against Brentford, who's a plus 250. Manchester City at the Etihad against Sheffield United are a minus 1250. Sheffield United north of 2760 right now. And Wolves at Molineux hosting Everton. Wolves are a plus 166. Everton is a plus 175. Your 12:30 matchup, Forest at City Ground hosting Manchester United, is a plus 221. At Manchester United is a plus 121. Draws a plus 271. Sunday, 2 matches, both at 9 o'clock. Fulham hosting Arsenal at Craven Cottage. Arsenal's a minus 172. Could be a get-right game for the Gunners. Fulham is a plus 484 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Spurs and Bournemouth at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs are a minus 119. Bournemouth a plus 283. Draws a plus 338. New Year's Day, Liverpool and Newcastle. Liverpool's a minus 213 at Anfield. Your draw is basically a plus 400. Newcastle north of plus 570. And on Tuesday, one game at 2:30 Eastern Time, West Ham hosting Brighton. Brighton a slight underdog on the road at West Ham. West Ham's a plus 148. Draws a plus 272, and Brighton is a plus 177. So with all of the juice boxes out of the way, time to catch up with Drew Dickinson. And thank you, Joey. It is time once again for the 3D.
3D! What's going on, everyone? My name is Drew Dickinson, and welcome to the 3D, which will be the last 3D of 2023. You see what I did there? Okay, yeah, right. Okay, so Manchester United are coming off that thrilling Boxing Day comeback against Aston Villa. The 3-2 win saw Rasmus Højlund not just pick up the game winner, but finally getting that first Premier League goal. We saw him dominate Champions League with 5 goals in the group stage. Just hasn't been successful as far as goal scoring here in the Premier League, but we finally saw some of that magic come on Tuesday against Aston Villa. And of course, Alejandro Garnacho securing a brace, 2 goals against Villa. Tomorrow, United travel to the City Ground to take on an in-form Nottingham Forest, newly appointed manager Nuno Espirito Santo. He's going to look to keep things rolling for Forest. We saw them have a big win earlier this week. United coming into that matchup, obviously still battered with injuries, so I expect to see close to the same lineup on Tuesday, which just, that first half was extremely brutal. We saw Marcus Rashford and Alejandro Garnacho finally come to life. Rashford played the best game he's played all season long, making some runs in behind that defense. That offside trap that Villa were playing in that first half just weren't able to find Marcus. And, let's give credit to Villa. They played the offside trap fairly well. One thing that I was so excited about was to see that Ten Hag finally abandoned the Scott McTominay project. He started Christian Eriksen back from injury and Kobe Mainoo as the number 6 and the number 8, allowing Bruno to play higher up the pitch, which just worked out great. That second half, Bruno played spectacular. Now back to Rashford and Garnacho. We saw Rashford play on the right, Garnacho play on the left. On Tuesday, we saw Ten Hag move Rashford back to the left and Garnacho over to the right, which just worked out absolutely fantastic. We saw Garnacho, like I said earlier, secure his brace, scoring 2 goals, which just fantastic. Marcus coming in off that left side, giving an assist to Garnacho. Marcus has had a few assists playing on the wing this season, but it's great to see that chemistry coming in with him and Garnacho starting to click. And we saw, like I said before, we saw in the Champions League, Højlund able to score some goals, and a couple of those goals were assisted via Marcus Rashford. Now back to this weekend. Last time Forest and United play was back in August, with United winning an absolute thriller 3-2. I expect the same kind of action tomorrow. one point that I want to, talk about just for a few seconds. We saw for £15 million, United sold their right winger, Anthony Elanga, to Forest, who's really come on strong. Elanga's had a lot of assists coming off that right side. So it's something that the left side of the defense will have to keep their eye on. I expect United to come out with a victory tomorrow. It's gonna, like I said, it's gonna have some action. I think it's gonna be a battle, 1-0, 2-1, but I do expect United to come out on top. Real quick, Erik ten Hag spoke today and mentioned two key things that really stood out to me. The first was, and I'm so excited about this, Mason Mount, Lisandro Martinez, Casemiro, Tyrell Malacia, and Harry Maguire all due back mid-January. That's, those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men could easily be slotted into the starting 11 for the FA Cup games and Carabao Cup games as it progresses. Excuse me, not Carabao Cup, just FA Cup and Premier League. United aren't playing many games during the week. I think after this weekend, the next game for United is mid-January, which is just fantastic. And the second piece of business that Ten Hag spoke about, which I love, him and Ineos apparently have already spoken, and they're excited about working together, which, reading between the lines tells me Ten Hag is here to stay, at least for the foreseeable future. And, that's something, a bad loss can really throw you off on what you feel about the manager, but then a good win and a good game management like he did this past Tuesday, whatever he said at halftime, however he, kind of broke down and went into tactical changes as far as on the field and movement, it just worked out great. You saw the fullbacks kind of come up a little bit higher and get into the press there in the second half, just not allowing any sort of easy momentum coming for that attack of Aston Villa. And we know with Leon Bailey and Ollie Watkins, they have a very good attack due Villa. But that's going to do it for me today. One thing is for sure, it was a year full of ups and downs for Manchester United. But one thing I would say, full of ups and downs, but one would say more downs than ups. It just depends on which way you look at it. This was Ten Hag's first year as manager, 2 cup finals, 1 trophy, a top 4 finish back in the Premier League, which put us back into Champions League. I'd say job well done, but much more work to do come 2024. And that's when I speak to everyone again. Happy New Year to you all. And we're going to send it back over to John. So much, everyone. Talk soon.
Drew, as always, thank you very much for your thoughts on the Prem and on Manchester United. We'll have that all season long. Drew will be back with us on Tuesday at 10:30 Eastern Time on the Live, where we at SDH do Prem and Proper, the review. And that's another round of Prem and Proper here with all of the matchups going on here in the Premier League. The end of festive fixtures is right there in our grasp. What is your favorite team going to be doing once we get through that final match here in the window, and they all get to catch their breath? We'll find out. We'll find out together. We'll talk about it on Tuesday on SDH at 10:30. For everybody here at SDH, that's another round of Prem and Proper, match week 19 or 20. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy the games. Be safe this weekend. We'll catch up with you next week.